And I think the fake name he uses there is Nastringham. Like, I've been running around for years. I'm really Nastringham. Hiding the pickles that are in the sandwich. Huh. It's Bubble Bass, and he's like, you forgot the pickles! You forgot the pickles! Raccoon kick! The Phantom Thief. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Dynamite kick! Here's a present!
Oh, you know,
Tenkaichi series. He grabs his knee and he goes, oh, my stomach hurts!
It'll be sad that cough is probably going to be the most exciting part of this video.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Argumentative Neighbors and Meaningful Elaboration, Anime. Introducing the panel. First of 2 today, since we didn't feel like waiting for Lloyd to show up. From Palm Beach County, Florida, fan of 10 years, Christopher Davis.
Hello, where's the camera?
It's there.
Yeah. You know I'm bad at this crap.
Yeah. I'm the host, director, and editor of the show, Jake Rose, born here in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm a fan of 12 years. Today we'll be discussing Fullmetal Alchemist. Our topics will include the existence of God, obsession, loss, the history of Fullmetal Alchemist, the anime, the manga / second anime, and the real-life history as they relate to one another. Various tangents on individual characters.
Sit up straight, young man.
First, the existence of God. In the anime, the Philosopher's Stone kind of represents God. In the manga, there was truth.
God was referenced a lot in the anime, but he wasn't actually given a physical form like truth.
It's in God's hands now. They originally were practicing religion in the Amethyst section of Earth. I mean, the Ishvalans had Ishvala. They find that Christianity did exist in the anime timeline, but it had been long ago abandoned. I feel that truth is almost a combination of good and bad. He sort of has a sick sense of humor, which, you know, obviously the Christian God isn't believed to be anything like that. So maybe he's like a God, Satan mixture with some original personality thrown in.
You know, though, isn't he supposed to be like some kind of like fair, neutral being?
He does have a sinister smile that almost makes me believe that he's leaning towards evil, because, I mean, really, he punishes more than he gives. I mean, especially since Roy goes blind at the end of the manga without even wanting to open the gate. He didn't want to, you know, bring someone back or anything. It wasn't his fault. He was forced to do it. So really he shouldn't have been punished. And yet he was, and truth didn't mind. In fact, I think he enjoyed taking away his sight. I mean, maybe it's because Roy's too cocky, but even still, like no caring God would love to punish. I mean, punishing something you have to do when you're in that position you don't want to.
In the manga, at one point, I forget who said this, but they said it was ironic how Ed had traded his leg for Al's soul, but in that he lost the leg to stand with his family. And then Roy, who had the grand vision of becoming Führer and all that, how he lost his sight. That's all I want to say.
So this adds to my idea that truth gets some sort of sick pleasure from the punishments he deals. Next, we will be discussing obsession, specifically as it relates to the characters Majahal and Shao Tucker. Obsession plays a major role in the series. Shao Tucker's fusion of a dog and his wife and a dog and his daughter disturb Ed immensely. Other characters, both the anime and manga, are obsessive, such as Father, who wants to become God, or better than human, or what they don't exactly say what his goal is, but it's something along those lines. Lust from the anime is obsessed with becoming human. Wrath as well wants to become human. Specifically, he wants to steal the body of Edward Elric.
Shao Tucker is that he was, after he turned his girl into a chimera, he tried to bring her back, and well, he succeeded in bringing her body back, but couldn't figure out how to attach the soul. Actually, he didn't really bring her body back. He just created another one.
Yeah.
And he wanted to use Edward to bind her soul. We're not even neighbors. We live like a block away.
Loss. First that would come to mind to anyone who's watched the series would be the loss of the Elric's mom. As well, Hughes dies, although no one tries to bring him back. Most people that lost him are either not alchemists or alchemists that are knowledgeable enough to know they shouldn't bring anyone back. Marco feels as though he's lost his soul because he helped during the Ishvalan rebellion when really they're just living in peace and they're attacked. Ed loses his limbs. There are other characters in the Fullmetal Alchemist world who have lost limbs. There's Bald, who takes over the train, and there's her name escapes me. The dark-skinned girl who was in a train accident. She had the rocket launcher in her knee. If you want to remember her that way. Make too many notes. I mean, I made a decent amount of notes, but not.
One thing that kind of surprised me was that Winry didn't really try too hard to put a rocket launcher in Ed's knee. Oh yeah, and there's also when Al loses his memories at the end of the series.
Also, the characters we brought up in the obsession segment of the show, they lost something and they're obsessed with trying to bring that back.
Except for Lux, did she really have her humanity at all? Although she did eventually regain her memories. Let's not even mention that. Moving on.
The history of Fullmetal Alchemist, first anime, second anime, the history of the real world as it is portrayed in the Fullmetal Alchemist series and how the three intertwine. There are many parallels in Fullmetal Alchemist to real world things, such as the Ishvalans. They're much like Muslims. The series itself brings to mind the Crusades, how the light-skinned population is attacking the Muslim or the Muslim-like group. Sinking city seen early in the series reminds me of Venice.
Italian working the Italians.
Shut up. Oh, and then the title of Führer. Hitler was called the Führer. Yeah. Hohenheim slightly reminds me of Jesus. Slightly. The Catholic idea of purgatory, similar to the idea of the gate, where unborn children are put. The only difference being that people who never knew of God and had no way of knowing of Him aren't put in there. The small black children are just children. There are no adults. Also, the aforementioned Catholic idea of purgatory could also be cited as an example of parallels between reality and the Fullmetal Alchemist world. In addition, this idea carries over into many, many series where there are vast similarities between the show and real life. There's a degree of laziness as well, because there are some real-world references in a lot of shows that don't need to be made to understand, and yet they do. I mean, some are humorous, but the ones that aren't don't really serve a purpose beyond just lack of originality. Cornello versus the Pope. They sort of drew him like the Pope more than acting. I mean, of course, the Pope is nice and Cornello's a jerk. The name scheme of the 7 deadly sins. One big issue with this is that if there are more than 7 homunculi, well, at least in the first anime world, what would you name the 8th? In the manga, they are created by Father, so of course he's not going to make more than 7 because they're supposed to represent the sins that have been expunged from himself.
Also, Sloth in the anime was the homunculus for Edward and Al's mother, while in the manga it was just the big guy who slept like 400 years underground or something. And in the anime, Edward and Al's mom's being Sloth doesn't really make sense. And then there's the fact that she's water. That just made it even more nonsensical.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, she's water.
Yeah.
How does that make sense with sloth? I mean, sloth are like waterborne males or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can't swim.
So this one needs to be
then.
just you.
So one thing is that in the anime, Dante relies on others to create the homunculi for her, and in the manga, Father creates the homunculi himself from his own body. They both have a deep connection with Hohenheim. I mean, Dante was his former lover, and in the manga, Father was the one who taught him how to read, how to perform alchemy, and all that. The secret of immortality, blah blah blah.
They share the Dante and father. They share the theme of immortality.
Dante and Father also share the theme of immortality and the obsession for it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of fits into the obsession thing.
The character Rose from the anime gets brainwashed by Dante, and it's not really explained why. It was implied that she was raped in jail. I've watched the anime several times. I haven't noticed that. Either way, she seemed a little too easily convinced that Dante was someone worth listening to. I mean, because she's in Lieber's body, and for a time is unaware of who she really is. So she was approached as someone of equal age, and therefore she really shouldn't have seen her in such a mentor role. And now an analysis of the major characters. Character Dante. She's slowly dying as her soul can hold a body for less and less time per switch. She seems corrupt by her long age, whereas Hohenheim still remains a good person. She seems to need to maintain control over the homunculi. With Father, they obey his every word because he created them, whereas Dante found them and got them to join her group, so there's less of a loyalty there, and it's very important to her that they follow her. And the character created both the anime and the manga betrays his creator / boss.
Alright then, Roy, the Flame Alchemist, very powerful, but you know what, there were a couple moments where I doubted his intelligence. I mean, there was the fight between him and Scar. I mean, during the rain. I mean, he's the Flame Alchemist. Shouldn't he know that his gloves aren't going to work when they're wet? But yeah, there was also the moment with the dog when the younger soldier is trying to get somebody to take care of the puppy. How Roy just, his personality completely switches, He's like, I love dogs! That was really unexpected. In the manga, Roy actually loses his sight. However, he still physically has his eyes. In the anime, he just loses one eye. Next up is Edward. If you've watched the anime, he's got quite a habit of breaking his auto-mill. I mean, seriously. And then there was the time when his auto-mill got stolen by a little girl. He's a state alchemist. That's just sad. All that alchemy skills, and he gets mugged by a little girl. Ed does care deeply about his brother, and he also has a strong sense of duty, willing to go literally to hell and back to get his brother's body. In the manga, he eventually decides, when he has the chance, to actually keep his automail arm, so he wouldn't piss Brunner off, considering that he's probably her main income.
Al, his body still exists at the gate in the manga, where in the anime it's not shown to be withering away with the long fingernails and hair. He is just as skillful as Ed is, if not more, because he's shown to have much alchemic prowess. And in addition to this, he can send metal suit versions of himself. He can attach his soul to other things, but this is explained that it's not a skill that he learned. It's inherent by the fact that his body was detached and later reattached, making it more malleable. In the anime, Ed makes the choice to give him his body back, and the toll for this ends up being the memories they've shared over the past couple of years. Where in the manga, Al himself is given the chance to gain his body, but he declines because he wouldn't be in fighting shape to help Ed had he gotten back his withered, unfed body. Thank you for watching episode 6 of A.N.I.M.E. Next time we'll be discussing a relatively unknown anime yet to be chosen by panelist Lloyd Tran.
Lloyd's useless. Okay, note to Jake, you owe me $5.
That's a lie!